So, facing reality after being hurt. The relationship ends and you find yourself pleading, no, I don't want you to leave me. Because it's the pain drawing you to the pain. But you don't really see yourself getting away from the pain. You think that you're running away from it, but you're drawing yourself to it. And you begin to plead to be in a place where God is saying, I'm removing you from, because that's not where I meant you to be. And that was where I found myself. I was a teenager, minding my business, trying not to be in a relationship. I ended up with friends who were dating. My parents were going through their own issues. I didn't really talk about it with anyone. I was keeping it to myself. The only person I talked about was a friend of mine who passed away. So it was like the only confidant who was comforting me was gone. So I yielded to, the girl pressure. High school. You're not dating. We think you're that. Okay, I'm not that. So I'm going to have to yield to this dating game that I didn't want to do because I was watching my parents go through their own pain, and it made me hate men. It brought me to that place where I thought every man was vindictive. And so I began to say, okay, I'm not on that side where you think I am. I'm not who you think I am. I'm not a girl thing. I'm straight. So I'll date this guy you all want me to date. And not only was the fact that they wanted me to date him, all the girls were after him, and being a confident girl in that moment, I thought, you know what, he's somebody everybody's chasing, so why did I prove them wrong, right? Go on a date with him. But little did I know that that was the situation that was going to break me. I hadn't met with any man before. It was my first time. He had a birthday party. Got to the birthday party, he invited me to go with him to his parents' room to get something. We got into his parents' room, he locked the door, and he put his father's gun to my head. And he said, you just have to do it. And in that moment, I looked at myself, I looked at the gun, and I saw I wasn't sure if it was a real gun or a toy gun. But I couldn't do anything else. I gave up who I was. Little did I know that that was the beginning of my journey to more pain. I left that situation, never talked about it. He gave me a pill so that I wouldn't be pregnant. I went home, kept it to myself for so long, and then I met my ex-husband, and the pain continued because I hadn't really dealt with all the issues that I was burying underneath the rug. I thought, I could keep up the bold face, I could smile, but people around me saw what I was going through, but they couldn't really tell me. You know how we hang out with friends who can't tell us the truth? Mm-hmm. It's like, girl, you look good today. Yeah, I covered it up with makeup. I could put on the dresses, I could put on the clothes, but the pain was not going anywhere. I was staring at my ceiling at night and crying when nobody knew what I was going through. I went through the marriage for 15 years, had 4 back-to-back miscarriages, lost 5 pints of blood, was at the point where I was only walking with 3, and I said to myself, I don't know what to do. At that moment, I was actually co-leading a women's prayer group. And none of them ever came to my house. One of them showed up. And she said, run for your dear life. You cannot be teaching us and be staying here. She picked up the phone. She called the crisis center. They called the cops. She gave me the phone and said somebody wanted to speak with me. And I broke down in that moment. I had been lying to myself for so long that I was okay. I had been putting up the front like we sometimes do with ourselves. I could go to church on Sunday and it's like, hallelujah, God, Mm-hmm. And I was that little perfect girl that did not have problems in front of anybody. I had a solution for everything. It was like, oh, you're going through this? Yeah. But deep down inside, I wasn't who God created me to be. And so I had to leave. I had to leave the marriage. I was done. At that point, I couldn't even hide anymore because the cabinet was open to everybody. My skeletons were falling out like Mignon said. And I had to take off the mask and be real with myself. I went through the process of being coached. I went through the process of struggling with God for 6 to 8 months saying, why would you bring me up in a preacher's home as a preacher's daughter, a preacher's granddaughter, and I'm having to go through all this? But little did I know he was birthing a ministry into me. And during my 4 months of wrestling with God and going through the coaching process, the counseling process, renewing my mind, God gave me 4 books. I'm speaking out of Love, Sex, Lies, and Reality today. And Being Single is the other one. Beyond the Pain. The 4th one is my memoir, which he has me on hold because I don't know what God wants to do next. I allow him to move me in the direction he wants to go. And little did I know that everything I was going through was for purpose. When I came to the point where I wrote the books, I did not want to write any book. I did not want to be an author. I did not want to be a certified professional coach. I did not want to be an international speaker. I was just taking little bits of the book and I was putting it on Facebook. And people were like, girl, you need to write a book. This is deep stuff. And I was like, no. In my mind, I knew God gave me those 4 books, but I was lying to myself. Again, being in that denial space of, well, people really want to hear my story when I'm the perfect girl who always had everything together, always smiled, never looked like she had a problem. But people knew I had problems. They just did not tell me because I was moving with the wrong crowd. And it came to the point where the first book was released and couples were like, I was going to leave Facebook. Couples were telling me, no, you can't. You don't know what you're doing to our marriages. You can't leave now. And I was like, okay. Then I put the first book out and I got a phone call from Howard County, Maryland, that my book was being nominated for an award. And I was like, Lord, I don't want to go this place. I'm this introvert little girl who wants to stay in her shell. I don't really want to be out there, but he took me places. Someone found me. I was sharing videos because my aha moment came. When my aha moment came to my reality of my ministry, my purpose, I started to share videos on Facebook. I was invited international to speak. I was having to get out of my own way and allow God to get in His own way. Because we all have to walk this prodigal journey, whether we like it or not. But we have to be real with ourselves after being hurt. You have to ask yourself the question, what is this teaching me about me? It's not about the other person. It's never going to be about the other person. It's always going to be about you. But you have to own it. You have to stand up and look at yourself and say, what did I get wrong about myself? Where did I miss my step? For me, it was the teenage years. Yielding to peer pressure. Trying to fit in when God actually created me to stand out. And that's the way we find ourselves. With the association we create. Because the association determines our growth. And without really seeing that you're placing yourself where God has not placed you. Because He's not a God of chaos. He doesn't bring about confusion. And He will never remove you from a relationship that He deemed good enough. And I want you to see that. Sometimes we think, I'm doing on my own, I'm going to stay. But look at the number of women out there that have lost their lives because they stayed. And you have to ask yourself, did God really put you here? Or did you put yourself here?
Right.
And that's why I said we sometimes play church. Oh, yes, Lord told me, did God really tell you this man was for you? Those were the questions I had to ask myself. And I said, you know what? If God hadn't deemed it, facing my own reality after the hurt, if God deemed it, He will never break it. Let me say that again so you can get it. If God deemed it, He will never break it. He will shape it and mold it and grow it. Yes. But when we don't wait,
bring it.
And I want you to connect with this. When we don't wait, it's because we don't know love. And we don't know us. Because God is love and we are created in His image and after His likeness. And we are like Him. And so for you to be in a space of love, you have to know you. And you have to know the one who created you. Because that connection lays the foundation of love before you seek it in somebody else. Because the love that you are is the love that you can give.
Yes.
And without having that love for yourself, you can't even give it to yourself or anyone else.
Right.
So you have to check yourself. What is it about me that I need to know? Who did God really create me to be? What lessons am I taking away rather than blaming the other person and saying, it was your fault? Because we contribute to everything that happens in our own lives. Either we choose to accept to be cheap, or we choose to accept to be great. But you can't be cheap and great at the same time. You cannot be cheap and great at the same time. You're either great and you stand in your greatness and you draw the boundaries so that when anything less than who God created you shows up, you're able to say, I'm standing in my grace, I know who I am, and I am not settling less for my work. Because the work that God places on us on a daily basis, no one can give it to you. It's priceless. But you have to know that love first. And that love comes with different attributes. Patience, not keeping a record of wrongs, trusting yourself, being truthful to yourself, being hopeful, not boastful. So if you're boastful, you have to check your ego. Is it the ego that is leading you, or are you coming to a humble place of love? Because love does not operate with where ego operates. And you have to come to face your reality. These are the lessons I have learned about life. Because life is about experience. It's not about pain. We put ourselves in a place of pain, but we have to wake up to own the truth, to own everything that we've left, that God has said when He created us. You are good enough. If you weren't good enough, He wouldn't place you here. And every day He gives you that grace to see the goodness with everything around you. Like the seed in the ground, you have to strive to push through the soil every time you go through the hurt. The seeds don't just wake up one day and show up on the surface. They have to push through the soil because you bury it deep. And you have to go to that deep place to think about every pain that you carry within yourself so that you can heal from it. Because without healing from each one, you may think, I've healed from this. And I'm talking about deep healing. Healing doesn't happen on the surface. You have to go to dig that soul, to bury yourself as a seed to begin to grow again by touching on all the pain points that you may have. The healing process is a lifetime process. And as much as you begin to see as you're growing up in the soil, God's grace, God's love, God's mercy, that you will be trampled upon. But you have to stand in your own truth and stand tall and say to yourself, I know who I am now. It's the process of finding yourself. It's the process of being refined daily. It's the process of knowing that when distraction comes, you're going to kick it in the butt. Turning your obstacles into your stepping stones, not going the way around like Mignon demonstrated, but dealing with it right there and then. Am I choosing to settle? Am I choosing to stand in my truth? Not running the race, the rat race, because there's no rat race. We created. A day before God is like 1,000 days, and 1,000 days like a day. Imagine that. So if we think like He does, He said, I know my thoughts for you. Your thoughts are not my thoughts, your ways are not my ways. But we have to come to the point where we recognize what He says in Jeremiah 29:11. I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, but to give you a hope and a future. But if you see yourself in a way of harm, you have to recognize that God isn't in it. And when we come to that place, we become humble. We become so humble, and our circle changes. Our circle changes. And people will look at you like, what the heck happened to her? But you know, God is busy working and transforming you into who He really created you to be. To live in that grace, to live in that peace of mind that no one can give but only Him. And in that moment, you recognize I'm facing my reality. Either it is from abuse or from childhood pain that we buried. The moment we own it, the moment we stand in that truth and say, you know what? All these experiences were birthing me into who I was created to be. Because without those experiences, you will never gain the awareness of your purpose and who you are.
Amen.
And you have to come to realize who you are. And the moment you do, you begin to work in purpose. Purpose is great. I look back 6 years ago when I walked away. Even though people look at me and say, wow. I wrote myself a note 6 years ago, before I wrestled with God. I said, why don't you just open the floor and take me? This shame is just way too much. For the girl who used to look good and carry herself like she had it together. So now I have to tell my story to the whole world. Now you're creating an opportunity for me to go speak three days weekend conference in the UK to go tell my story.
That's awesome.
Now you have to take me to the world to go tell my story. But it's not about us. It's about the purpose.
Amen.
And until we see that it's about the purpose, we will keep putting ourselves in the way and blocking our own blessings. Because purpose comes with greatness and blessings and the plans that God has. But when you begin to walk in purpose, your life is completely changed. I look back now, I have no regrets. Every little experience brought me to an awareness of who I am. Brought me to learning that my purpose, which I had avoided for so many years, while counseling in church, while coaching other people and helping people with relationships as a teenager, was actually leading me to become a certified relationship coach. But you see, we try to cut corners, but you can't cut corners with God. He's just going to stand and look at you. And when you're tired, you come back home. So I want us to kind of stay in that place. What is my reality? Why did I have to go through all of this? Because I didn't know me. I didn't know how great God deemed me when He said, I looked at you. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. Now I'm about to birth you into purpose. But we connect with the society, the culture, the tradition, everything around us. But we have to stop playing with God. That's why I said we have to stop playing church. Because we all know, like Mion said, I can do that thing on Friday night, right? But I can get into church on Sunday and still lead praise worship. Come on. But nobody knows where you've been of God. But the day He's going to expose you while you're standing on the platform, you would have to look at yourself and say, what did I bring upon myself? Because it's not about the congregation looking at you. It's about you. What you did with yourself. But we have to start to face it now. Every day is a brand new day. Yesterday, He does not remember. We remember it. We carry it in our memories. We allow the emotions to cloud our judgment. But He looks at you every day and says, I'm giving you new grace. I'm giving you new mildew. Mildews don't come from yesterday. They're brand new every day. It's like I'm giving it to you again. I'm leading you beside the still water to restore your soul. Are you going to connect with me? But His arms are like that. But you can't come to Him like this. Because you won't receive what He has for you. You have to let it go. And you have to say, here I am. Take all of me. Mold me. Shape me and use me for your glory.
Thank you.
Because it's not about us. It's about His glory,
Yes, amen.
His purpose.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, you want Him to be able to look at you and say, well done, good and faithful servant.
Yes.
Every seed that He plants grows. You can either decide, I want to remain a shrub, or I want to remain a tree. But trees don't bend back to become shrubs, right?
Right.
So you have to think about it. Are you ready to come out of the closet? Are you ready to face reality after being hurt? Are you ready to own your truth? Don't think about what others have to say. Because even when you die, they still have things to say.
Yes, amen.
But you have to think about the journey. Would you rather go back to Him at the end of the day, not fulfilling your purpose? Or would you rather go back to Him, being fulfilled, knowing that you came to know who you are? You came to accept your truth. You came to receive the peace and the love and the grace He births every day.
Yes, thank you, Lord.
And you're able to go change lives, because that's what purpose is about.
Thank you.
To go, make sure no one is left behind.
Yes.
Amen.
And we have to connect with that. That's where our greatness lies. Not in anything else. Not in the job. Not in the children, because they'll get married one day and go away and leave you alone. It's about the purpose. And when it comes to relationship, you have to make sure He finds you. The Bible says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing.
Yes.
That man has to go look for his ring. Not the woman who's like, you know, I just came out from the salon, I got my nails done. He's got to find you. And when He finds you, I tell my clients this every time. When the man finds you, he lets you know. We women are quick to say, I love you. But it's on the lustful side. You have to make him show you he's the reed. And your core values will connect. And that's when both of you can walk in the purpose journey that God has called your marriage for to be. Otherwise, we'll just be wasting time. But today I invite you to connect with me if you need support 24/7.
Amen.
Just like heavens are open 24/7. He doesn't say, come back tomorrow. His doors are open every day.
All right.
I'm open to support anyone who needs help. I also encourage you to pick up the books. Not for me. The money doesn't come to me. The money goes to the nonprofit, because I coach people and I take back that and I put it back into ministry. There are people that cannot afford support. They don't even know where to start. And I've committed myself to helping people find who God created it to be. Because without that, we'll just exist and not really live. But we were created to live, not exist. So I invite you to connect with me and also get the books if you're going through. If you want to start with that, start reading them. Don't just buy and hang them on the shelves, because they won't transform your life when they're on the shelves. Don't just come to conferences and listen and not implement what you're learning, because your life will not be changed. But allow God to deposit the seeds in you and make room in your life for them to grow. Because he's got amazing things for you, I tell you. I tell you, I look back and I have no regrets. Every day, I look at myself and I say, God, you actually showed me this journey when I was 14, but I never connected to it. I wanted to be where everybody else was. But you didn't make me to be everybody else. You made me to be me. You called me and created me with a purpose. And I really want you to connect to that purpose, because purpose is great. It's going to take you places where you never imagined. It's going to help you be in the space where God wants you to be. And I share with you next month, I'm heading to India to speak. I never thought I'd do it.
All right. All right.
But that's just God.
Yes, it is.
Every day I ask Him, If it's not your will, don't let me connect to it. If it's your will, you'll make a way.
Amen.
And I'll drop you with a bomb. Before I got here today, I was telling Vicky, my car had to go into the shop. I got there, they said, we don't have a loaner. And I said, God, you must be kidding. There's a woman who needs to hear me out.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you're going to make a way. And they pulled the car right from the brand new lot.
Praise God. Yes, praise God.
And that's why I said purpose takes you places. But you have to get out of your own way to get into it. I tell you, it's a beautiful journey, but you have to be willing to want to lead it.
Yes.
You have to see yourself needing to be in it. It's not about these things we wear, because when we leave, we don't leave with any of those things. Everything will be giving out to somebody else. But you have to think about you coming before the Father at the end of the day. And He's looking at you like, what did you do with all those gifts and the purpose? You're not going to say it's about that other person, because it's not about them, it's about you. So again, I really want to connect with you one-on-one to help you get there. If you need the support, don't hesitate. Don't even think, because when you wait and it's over 24 hours, you're going to go back to your old ways. That's the honest truth.
Yeah.
I did many conferences, like Mia said, and I'll go back doing the same thing over. But you have to dig through the past. Don't just bury it. Leave that rug up. Leave that rug up. Look at it and say, every little dust mite, I'm going to pick up myself from it to learn the lesson each one teaches me about myself, so that I can be free. Because when you're free, no one has the power to hurt you.
Amen.
When you come into the place of love, no one has the power to hurt you, because you now know you. And you can connect with the Father, and He can continue to birth that love into you.
Yes, amen.
I hope I'm able to bless you guys today. And I'll be back here for a few minutes before I leave, because they've actually called me to come return their car.
Well, Kimmy, before you go, one of my girlfriends live wants to know how to connect with you.
So you can email me, coaching@kemmyshogunle.com. You can inbox me on Facebook. I check 24/7. Vicky has my number. She can give it to you. You can call me. I'm an open book, transparent. Anything goes. So, and we're all connected. God just did not, and it's also in the program. God did not just bring us across each other's path. Every time He brings somebody across your path, I want you to really think about this. He's awakening you to something about you that you don't know. So even when you get upset, don't walk away without connecting to that thing that lesson is teaching you. You just have to connect to it and be real with yourself. Any questions? I can take questions. I can answer questions if you have questions.